Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Natalie Beauchamp. Welcome to Empowering Women in Chiropractic, the show brought to you by ChiroSecure. Excited today to share with you what I've been using in my office for a long time when it comes to personality tests. So I use it in many instances in my office, and one is to hire the right staff, and also for my staff to understand how to better communicate with our patients depending on their disc profile. So by doing this, obviously it can increase retention, referrals, and it just makes communication easier. So let's get started here. So the one that I'm talking about is the disc profile. There are different ones, and some of them are very similar. There's some that are more complex, and I would suggest to keep it simple if you want your staff to really be able to embrace it and so forth. So let's start with the different types here. There we go. So what I want to cover is what the DISC stands for and the different types so you can understand. And give you also names of celebrities so we can associate. I know when I explain it, when I train my own staff with this, they just love seeing the personalities that have the different types. How you can leverage your staff strength. This is something that I've learned from the beginning, that it is not very productive to give a task or a role to someone where it doesn't fit. So when I do a disc profile for the staff, I can gauge where they're going to fit better in terms of roles in the office or even, daily task. For example, you're not going to give your eye in your practice all the detailed balancing of the account. That just would be a huge mistake. And also how to apply that in terms of conversion and retention. So a quick look at it here. If you're not familiar, it is called a DISC profile. And what it stands for, D is for dominant, I is for influencer, S is for stable or steady, and C is for compliant and cautious. And you'll see that at the top, it's telling us that the person is more outgoing versus more reserved, or that the person is more task oriented or people oriented. So 90% of all success come from your ability to read and understand people. Imagine having a model and a system that can help process all of that information and give yourself the skill and your staff the skills as well. So what DISC is, universal language of human behavior, and it is so true. Like I even extrapolated the DISC personality to health and the behavior of my patient, and it is pretty striking how accurate it is. And when we understand, we can work on our own strength and our own weaknesses. It's a neutral language, does not measure values. So that's why I always say to people when they do the test, there's no right or wrong. Don't think of yourself in a work environment versus in a life situation. It is who you are. Gives predictive measure of how people do things. What DISC is not a measure of intelligence, values, skills, or experience. So obviously you need to take that all these other factors in consideration when you hire. It is not either a measure of education and training. So understanding DISC allows you to know yourself, and that was a big one for me. Knowing who I was, realizing that if I have someone that's opposite to me, it's going to be challenging. And if I need to make it work, then I have the tools to really connect with this person as well. Control yourself, know others, and meet their needs, which is what we need to do in our office for sure. So the D style is decisive, tough, strong-willed, competitive, demanding, independent, self-centered, meaning how does this benefit me? What's the bottom line? Very direct, tells his or her opinion, can interrupt others frequently, can come across as aggressive and easily irritated. So the D style under pressure can come across as they are lacking concern, and their primary fear is loss of control. And if we look at the famous D style, to do Dr. Phil's line here, how's that working for you? So personality that are really strong and direct, that will take charge. I am myself a D, and I know that many times I have to bite my tongue and think twice about what I'm going to say, because as direct as I am, I don't want to come across too harsh. So knowing that is very helpful. So that's for the D. The I style is social, friendly, talkative, open, enthusiastic, easily excited, energetic, animated, doesn't focus too much on detail, has maybe a short attention span, does not pay close attention, may ask the same question several times, jump from subject to subject, stays away from hard facts. So oftentimes we have patients that are that, or oftentimes as well we can have staff that are like that, which can make for a great happy front desk, where our patients are going to be talking to them and so forth, but you often have to rein them in. Under pressure, they can be disorganized, and their primary fear is not being the cool kid, so social rejection. Famous I people, Jim Carrey, Jay Leno, Ashton Kutcher. So they're really outgoing. I always tell my staff that it is the person that when they walk in the office, you already know they're there because you hear them talking and laughing. This is who the I personalities are. Then the S style are more calm, steady, easygoing, not easily excited, which sometimes, for others is kind of a lower pace. They're careful, they're patient, they're modest, trustworthy, family-oriented, good listener, asks questions, and likes to make sure that they do the right thing. Seems to have strong opinion, but doesn't really, express them. Nods and goes along, uncomfortable with change. And I find that personally, these people can make a really good front desk if they have other components of the I and the C, which we're going to go over shortly. So under pressure, they're the type of people that are going to say yes, 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 and over commit and not be able to deliver, but they'll say yes because they want to be liked, they want to help you, but they don't necessarily have the bandwidth to do so. Primary fear is loss of stability. So those staff member will not like when you're changing things. They're going to be the ones that are going to be slower to embrace that aspect. Famous S style, the Princess Diana, Mother Teresa, Gandhi. So the really, I want to say almost altruistic, people that really want to help other people and are happy and fulfilled when they can have this kind of impact. And the last style is the C style, which is, I always say, it's kind of our engineers, precise, focus on detail, logical, careful, follows rule, formal, disciplined, appears reserved and somewhat timid. They can ask a lot of questions. I always remember a patient who is an engineer, a bit of a language barrier, but he was just, when I was showing his x-rays and all of that stuff, asking about the angles, and just every visit after visit, he would question me. And to this day, he's still a patient, but I learned that he's a C, he's an engineer, and he was not, doubting me. He was not questioning me. It just needed to make sense to him that I was adjusting C2 going right. I mean, no patients, not many patients asked those details, but it was important to him. And to this day, I need to let him know exactly what I adjusted and from what visit to the other, what I see as changes. So at first I was, it's like, oh, is he questioning me and so forth. But now I appreciate how much he values his health and wants to understand. So having that awareness really made me just sit back, be patient with him, and he's become a great patient. Does not easily express disagreement with their point of view, may have done their homework on the topic. So those are the people that will have Google your office and looked at what you do and what you stand for, because they're detail oriented, and they may be critical. So sometime, again, just knowing where they're coming from and their personality type, you might slow down and say, okay, I'm not going to take this personally. This person legitimately, I can't say that, will want to know exactly what's going on. And I can only respect that, because we want our patients to be empowered. So the C style, under pressure, overly critical. So they may come across as they don't like the idea, they're shutting it down. And their primary fear is criticism of work. They are very concerned that if you ask them to do something and if they don't do it properly, like it's just not good for them. So famous style people for the Star Trek fan, Spock, Einstein, Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus. So you can, see the detail oriented and people that are going to get really granular with the details of the task. So how can we use these tests to work on our staff strength? So I'll tell you how I do things in my office, and then I'll show you a few screenshots of some of the results. So I'm myself certified with the DISC company, one of them, and this is something that I did through a business coaching course, and it was really, really, really valuable. So something to take in consideration. Or oftentimes business coach will have that as a tool, so you can hire them to do your 6, 7, 10, 20 staff, and then have a training session and be able to review that. So once we know what people are when we hire them, so this is an example of my newest hire. So the CDIS is staggered. So from the slide that I show you, but top is C, top left is C, top right is D, I, and S. So her name is Candice, and she is both she has some C component and some I component. So this person is working as a back chiropractic assistant. So she's taking the patients in, doing the intake for me, and all of that stuff. So to me, when I did her DISC profile, it made a lot of sense even without knowing her, because I want her to be outgoing. I want her to be able to connect well with the patient, but yet we're building the patient's file and needs to be detailed and so forth. And knowing that, it took a little bit longer to train her, because it was very important that she knew exactly what needed to be done. So that's in the big scheme of things, that the DISC profile for her. But one of the things that I really look at is this, and again, it's a screenshot of hers, and you'll see that profile number 1 is called perceive need to adjust, and then the profile number 2 is the natural style. And I've looked at enough of those that the people that have, and you see her pattern, so she's not much of a D, which, again, could be good, could be not good, depend on what you want them to do. Her C is higher, her I is the second one, and then her S is the third one. And you'll notice that her perceived need to adjust and her natural style are not exactly the same, but they're very congruent. They're very if you lay them one on top of each other, they're not opposite or anything like that. And I've noticed that the people that have a natural style and a perceived need to adjust that are very different, they're not congruent. They think you want them to be a certain way, so they're not their natural self. They're changing their personality to fit what they think they should be. So I've noticed that if I stick with the two profile being very similar, it somehow makes for better hires, because you want someone to be who they are, and bring their strengths and weaknesses even to the equation. So this is again a tool that I think is very valuable. So I do that before I hire staff, and then I will review it with them, and then every so often we'll do an activity with the clinic or inside of the clinic with our staff, especially when we have new staff coming on, that they all know what their DISC profile is. And we work on, talking about our strengths and weaknesses. And in the report, the DISC gives a 30-page report, and it tells you how to communicate. So if I'm a D and I want to communicate with an S, well, I need to do it in a different manner. Give you an example. If I start at the clinic on Monday, I'm there, I'm good to go. I just want to get going. But I know my front desk, two of them are S and I. So I'll take the time to say, hey guys, how was your weekend? And I'll just make myself be a little bit more social and asking, because I know it is important to them, as opposed to if I only had D's working for me, we would just get going and who cares what you did this weekend kind of thing. So I think, it's important. And that's one thing that I know that I have gotten better at it. Another tip here is let's say you're really strong of a C, or you're really strong of a D. I would not suggest hiring someone that is exactly your personality type. You think it would be a good thing because you're like, oh, I'll this person's going to understand what I want and what I need. But it's my experience that it's going to do this, and it's better to have, to me, people that are complementing me. So if I'm a D, I want the I and the S in my office. So for patient, the focus of the staff and how they greet and how they make people feel, and the small talk sometimes, because we want the patients to be happy and looking forward to their visit. So that's how I'm using it in the office, and training with the staff on how to detect the different types of personality. So then we use it for patients. So when my intake assistant does the evaluation, or sorry, the questionnaire, the intake, she'll come out and debrief me, and then we discuss what type of personality do we have. And the reason I like to know that going in is that if I know I have a detailed person, C, I'm going to go add it way more detail, and this is what we're going to do. If I have this I person that's really outgoing and doesn't really care what's going on, they just want to feel better, then I'm going to have a different type of conversation. So it's been really helpful for the staff as well, because now they know what they are. They can guess what the patient is, and then they know how to better communicate with them. And a little quick story here is I love hiring university students to work in my office. And I had a text the other day from one of my staff who's doing her master's degree in another city, and she said, Dr. Nat, do you mind if we got on a quick call? I could pick your brain and get your insight. So I guess she's having some challenges with whomever is in charge of her master's program. And first thing out of her mouth, she's like, Dr. Nat, like with the disc profile, what this guy is a C. And guess what she is? She's an I. So completely different personality. So they're clashing, in terms of communication. So gave her some tips. So I thought it was just cool that, we've mastered the disc profile enough that she was able to use it in her personal life. So this is it here on how it can be applied to your patient into your office. So it's all about communication. It's not about being right or wrong, but it's about knowing who you have in front of you so you can understand how they like to communicate. And by doing this, it makes the workplace such a better and more pleasant place with staff and even with patients. So hopefully you enjoy this kind of crash course on the disc profile. Like I said, you can easily, well, I shouldn't say easily, but you could get certified if that's something you want to dig deeper, or hire a consultant to get it done. Very valuable. It can really be a great half-day training session, and it's good because your staff is getting a 30-page report on who they are. So it's really valuable for them as well as a human being. So this was Dr. Natalie Beauchamp. Thank you for watching Empowering Women in Chiropractic. And thank you again for ChiroSecure to put these shows on. It's always an honor to be part of this group and share insight of things that are working great in our practices, because when we can learn from each other, it always raises the bar and always helps for us to grow. So thank you very much.
Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. We hope you enjoyed this week's Facebook Live event. Please like us on Facebook, comment, and share. We look forward to seeing all of you next week for another episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. Now, go ahead and hit the share button and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. This has been a ChiroSecure production.